In a shocking development, a candidate in Ecuador's forthcoming presidential election who campaigned against corruption and gangs was shot dead at a campaign rally on Wednesday. Fernando Villavicencio, a member of the country's National Assembly, was attacked as he left the event in the capital, Quito. He was one of the few candidates to allege links between organized crime and government officials in the country. A criminal gang called Los Lobos, meaning the Wolves, has claimed responsibility. Los Lobos is the second largest gang in Ecuador with some 8,000 members, many of whom are actually behind bars. The gang has been involved in a number of recent deadly prison fights in which scores of inmates have been brutally killed. Los Lobos claimed responsibility in a video in which gang members wearing balaclavas flashed gang signs and waved their weapons. Ecuador has historically been a relatively safe and stable country in Latin America, but crime has shot up in recent years, fueled by the growing presence of Colombian and Mexican drug cartels which have infiltrated local criminal gangs. The killing comes less than a fortnight before presidential elections, in which the issue of insecurity features as the top concern. The cartels use Ecuador, which has a good infrastructure and large ports, to smuggle cocaine produced in neighboring Colombia and Peru to the US and Europe. They have threatened and targeted anyone who they feel stands in their way. Fernando Villavicencio, a serving congressman and former journalist, had condemned what he said was the lenient approach to the gang, saying that if he came to power, there would be a crackdown. He was one of 8 candidates in the first round of the presidential election, although he wasn't the frontrunner. He is not the first politician to be assassinated in Ecuador, though. Last month, the mayor of the city of Manta was shot dead, while in February, a candidate for mayor in the city of Puerto Lopez was killed. But the shooting of a presidential candidate at a public event in the capital of the country is the most brazen attack so far and shocking testimony to the strength of these gangs. 6 people have been arrested by the police in connection with the assassination. A state of emergency has been declared, and the current president, Guillermo Lasso, has vowed that the crime will not go unpunished. Lasso, who will not be on the ballot, said he was outraged and shocked by the killing, adding, "Organized crime has come a long way, but the full weight of the law is going to fall on them." The frontrunner in the polls, Luisa Gonzalez, shared her solidarity with Villavicencio's family, saying this vile act will not go unpunished. Villavicencio had pledged to combat corruption and reduce tax evasion if elected to office. Once known as an island of peace, the Andean country has in recent years reported some of the highest homicide rates in the region. Though Ecuador has no history of producing cocaine nor its main ingredient, coca, it is sandwiched between the 2 largest narcotics production hotspots in the world, Peru and Colombia. Ecuador has become an integral part in the lucrative cocaine trafficking routes from South America to North America and Europe, according to security experts. And violence has been most pronounced on the country's Pacific coast as criminal groups battle to control and distribute illicit drugs. The country has also lost control of its overcrowded prisons, which are often ruled by criminal gangs. Security forces have struggled to confront the gangs inside prisons, where inmates often take control of branches of the penitentiaries and run criminal networks from behind bars. Hundreds of inmates have been killed in brutal prison riots between rival gangs. All the candidates in Ecuador's presidential election have now pledged to rein in the escalation of violence.
The second decree declares the state of emergency for 60 days. The armed forces from this moment are mobilized throughout the nation territory. The armed forces from this moment are mobilized throughout the national territory to guarantee the safety of citizens, the tranquility of the country, and the free and democratic elections of August 20.